All right, looks like we're getting some people in. And anyways, we will be recording and posting recaps and everything. So today we have Xenify as our guest. It's a cross-chain meta-aggregator of aggregators. And the guests presenting Xenify is Simran and Diana, who are Xenify co-founders. Welcome. Pleasure to have you today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
Great to be here.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
great to have you guys. For the listeners, Xenify is our partner project. They utilize our swapping powers within their uh, protocol, within their project, within their ecosystem, essentially. Without further ado, could you guys introduce yourself and what you do for Xenify, and then we carry on with the questions.
Sure, absolutely. If you want me, I can do a little intro for both, and then I'll hand it over to Simran for the questions. So, yeah, thank you again for that beautiful intro. Again, I'm Diana. I'm one of the co-founders of Xenify, and I focus mainly on project management and marketing, of course. And we also have Simran, another one of the co-founders of the project, and I would say one of the key masterminds behind our innovative tokenomics. And yeah, he's here basically to shed some light on the project and answer all the queries that the community kindly sent to us. So I think if you're okay, without further ado, we can dive into your questions and hear from the main man himself, Simran. Simran, hello. How are you doing? Are you ready?
Doing pretty good. Yep. Ready for the
Sounds
questions.
Sounds good. Let's start it off, and just so everybody is on the same page, we'll all go over the Twitter questions that we pre-picked specifically, and
Yeah.
then we will jump over to live ones. Hopefully, we can take some. The whole thing should be about 1 hour. I don't want to hold you guys more than we should. Anyways, let's start off with the questions. And the first one, the introductory one: what is Xenify, and why would an average user swap with Xenify specifically?
Yeah, so Xenify is you could say, a cross-chain aggregator of aggregators. So we facilitate swaps between 27 different aggregators across 52 chains. Uh, I would say the main reason why a user would use Xenify would be the ability to actually view the best quote at a single glance. So instead of the user actually going to each aggregator and then determining, their quotes, they can basically utilize Xenify and actually see everything with a single glance and perform the swaps within one click.
Fascinating. Well, let's continue on with the questions. What is the standout feature that makes Xenify different from other cross-chain aggregators out there?
So I would say the biggest feature we have right now, or what we're trying to deliver, is the ability for a user to actually swap and earn, right? So think of it in this way: when you was to swap in Uniswap, you would have paid a fee, right? That would tend to go towards the LP liquidity providers, right? But the user itself wouldn't be able to earn anything back. So what we're trying to achieve is the ability for a user to actually swap, let's say from an EVM chain through StealthEX within a single click, and have the ability to actually earn XNF tokens, which is our tokens, in return for performing those actions within our protocol. So I would say that would be one of the key features that we're trying to push out in the coming months.
That is great. So sort of swap to earn mechanism,
Yeah.
which is pretty rare. I don't think I've seen many projects that allow that aside from the standard affiliate tools that everybody has. So do we. Anyways, let's dive in deeper into the questions. What would be the simplest and easiest way to enter this protocol for someone that's new or does not have such deep understanding of the DeFi space?
I would say the simplest way would be just by performing a swap through Xenify, because if you perform a swap from any EVM chain, you're bound to earn something from it. That would have a value that could be easily probably 10 times what you would get, from basically performing a swap on, let's say, Uniswap or any DEX out there, because most of them, not the thing is that you would receive back the tokens that you're actually swapping to, but at the same time, you're also going to be receiving something back that could be more value, I would say, that could actually earn you native chain rewards such as BNB, ETH, depending on the chain you're swapping from.
Cool. And this is just my question. From the user standpoint, do you require any sort of registration or wallet connect, or how does the general flow from the user standpoint who just goes into the platform, does not really understand DeFi space, doesn't have much experience, with different DEXs or bridges and just wants to perform, let's say, just a swap through Ethereum to his BNB?
Yeah, so right now that is pretty simple. So we have connected a lot of wallet providers to our dApp. So we even facilitate, for example, swaps from Bitcoin to EVM chains by simply one-click solution. So users can just connect a compatible Bitcoin wallet to our dApp, and they can basically swap out from Bitcoin using StealthEX and go into any EVM chain by simply pressing, the swap button and just providing their EVM address. So
Cool.
it's a
So
quite
super,
straightforward process.
yeah, super
And
simple.
yeah,
That is great. And regarding the native token, what is the token supply for XNF and what makes it different?
so the XNF token itself is we took inspiration from Bitcoin. So the maximum cap on XNF will be 22,600,000, right? And every chain that we deploy onto would have that same supply. So right now we are going to be deploying onto the BNB chain. So there would be like 22,600,000 BXNF tokens. And basically, we have also adopted a halving approach that we took from Bitcoin, but we've made it a bit more aggressive. So think of it like the first halving would happen within the first 3 months after deployment. And each day there will be a distribution of that supply. So the total supply gets distributed slowly each day, right, over the next 220 years. And every halvening, so the first halvening is in 3 months, the second will be in 6 months, the third will be in 12 months, the fourth will be in 24 months, and then it goes to 48 months, and then from there it will be 4 yearly halvenings till it reaches a fixed amount of XNF that will be distributed each day. So the way the distribution actually happens is through auctions. So we have 50% of that supply being distributed to those that swap, right, to our platform. Then we have the remaining 50% that's given to those that burn, right? So burning a token to receive XNF. We'll probably go into that more deeper in the following questions, but that's a kind of understanding on how the supply is structured, basically, for XNF.
Cool, very cool. Yeah, I definitely see resemblance with Bitcoin, with the cap and everything, but the halvings are a lot more aggressive in a way. They're just a lot more frequent. Anyways, continuing on the matter of the token, is there a way users can currently buy XNF?
At the moment, there is no way of buying XNF. However, users can participate in our daily airdrop auction, which we're doing right now. So before every deployment onto a new chain, we have an airdrop. So right now we're doing the BNB chain airdrop, which is the BXNF token. So 1.5 million BXNF gets distributed at the deployment when we deploy the contract, where users are now able to claim those BXNF from the contract. Once they've claimed it, it becomes kind of locked within their wallet address, and it basically unlocks on each new block. So that unlocking would happen over a period of 730 days. And once it unlocks, they can actually utilize that within the ecosystem to participate and start, earning rewards and such. But yeah, so basically, if they wanted to acquire XNF now, it will be through the initial Genesis airdrop that is currently live. And each day there's a 25,000 BXNF tokens that get distributed according to whoever swaps through Xenify. And so far, I think there's been already a volume of 2.5 million or more that has happened in the last 2 weeks.
Cool. So if you want to acquire some XNF, all you have to do basically, aside from watching out for the airdrops, is performing swaps through Xenify.
Yeah, just a swap from any EVM chain would qualify you. So if they was to do a swap from, let's say, Ethereum, ETH into, let's say, Bitcoin, and they chose, StealthEX, then they would be considered into that airdrop for BXNF. And basically that would release slowly over the period of 730 days.
Cool. Very cool. All right. Continuing on with the questions. Can you explain what Zen is and how it is related to VXen?
So Zen is a proof of participation protocol. It's ability where a user could actually, pay a gas fee in order to actually mint tokens. And then when you do have these tokens, you're able to participate within the Zen ecosystem by burning it for other tokens, right? And they are based on fair principles. So basically, there's no founder allocation, there's no investor allocation, there's no team allocation. The code is immutable, it can't be changed. It's based on fair crypto, fair principles, and everything is basically transparent. And this is what we have adopted with our tokenomics, where all our contracts are immutable. We don't have any admin keys. We don't have any team allocation. We don't have founder allocation or investor allocations. Everything basically is distributed on participation within or interaction within our protocol, either by burning or swapping. And basically, when they have this Zen, they can now participate into our protocol by burning it for VZen. And basically, VZen is more of a token which they could basically bridge to other different chains to participate, where, if we was to deploy onto Ethereum in the next 60 days after BNB chain, they will be able to bridge that VZen to Ethereum and participate there. So it doesn't mean that, if you acquired VZen on the BNB chain and you're stuck there, because now you will have the ability to actually bridge it to Ethereum to participate also on Ethereum and future different chains that we deploy onto. So we do the plan to, roll out onto multiple chains over a period of this year and then next year.
Cool. So that what true DeFi sounds to me, based on the true principles without code being, able to change when it's immutable. That's what it should be, in my opinion. Anyways, continuing on the Zen part of things, can you explain the VZen min fee and how it contributes to the protocol sustainability?
Okay, so the thing with Zen right now is that Zen on Ethereum the liquidity on Ethereum is very different from the liquidity that's on the BNB chain, right? So the prices are quite different. So if a user wanted to, let's say, burn $1,000 worth of Zen on Ethereum, the amount of Zen that he needs to burn would probably be far less than someone that was wanting to burn the same dollar value on the BNB chain, right? So for us to be able to have VZen being bridged between the chains and basically getting participation across different chains where Zen is on, we've made it so that when a user was to burn, let's say, 1,000 Zen on Ethereum, he would need to have an equivalent value of ETH, right? So that means when you burn $1,000 worth of Zen, you would need to contribute $1,000 worth of ETH, right? So in total, that's $2,000 worth of value that you're sending. Now, this $2,000, you're getting it back in VZen as 2,000 VZen, right? We basically utilize Chainlink price oracles to get the dollar value of the native token in order to, make it correct. And when you do get that 2,000 VZen, now you can actually bridge it between the chains without worrying, like, if this, the price of this token is less or that token is less and the liquidity is different, because now you can actually participate across the different chains without worrying about, how much you contributed, because everyone would be equal in that point. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, pretty interesting mechanism. I'm sure you have all this information recorded somewhere in the docs, right? Because it's a
Yeah.
lot. Even for me, I'm like, wow, there's so much to it.
Yeah. I think the main thing is the way it's sustainable, the part where you were saying how is it sustainable, is that the mint fee doesn't it's not given to the founders or the team or anyone of interest. It actually gets utilized back into the protocol to actually create liquidity for XNF. So the example that I provided you with, the $1,000 worth of ETH, $500 worth of ETH would actually be creating XNF liquidity. And the other half will be creating Zen liquidity. And in order to create that liquidity pairing, you would actually have to acquire the two tokens, which adds buying pressure for XNF and Zen. And in return, those LP tokens would become protocol-owned liquidity, meaning that it's run by the contract. There's no admin keys. And whatever is written in code would basically be performed as a daily action.
Got it. So code is law.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's keep going with the questions. Could you walk us through the process of burning VZen to acquire XNF? What would users need to know?
Yeah. So as I mentioned before, like on each day, there's two auctions, right, that happen. One is the swap auction, right, where you just simply can come to Xenify and swap, right, and you'll be put into that category if you pay, the swap fee. And now on the burn side of it, we have a burn auction. So those that burn VZen, right? So just to make it clear, one batch, if you burn one batch, that means you're burning 5 VZen. Okay? So we've done it in batches, right? And the burn fee is paid in native tokens. Okay? So that means if you burn your VZen, you have to pay, let's say BNB, right? If you're on the BNB chain. Now, if you burn in the first hour, you get a 50% discount. So technically, if you was to burn 1,000 VZen, you would only have to pay $500 worth of BNB, right? And now if you burn more batches, up to 10,000 batches, then you get a further discount, which makes it, 75% of a discount. That means you're only paying like 250 for that $1,000 worth of burn. So in other words, the more batches you burn, the more of that daily distribution you would receive in XNF. So basically, it's like an auction. If you're familiar with EOS, how they had those daily auctions where you contributed, I think it was ETH, and then you get a certain allocation of EOS on each day. So it's similar to that, where if there's more participants burning, then you would probably get an equal rate or slightly bad rate. But if there's less participants, you would get a huge discount on those XNF tokens.
Right. So the earlier the better it is to perform it, pretty much.
Yeah. Think of it like you're mining it. So it's like,
Right.
yeah.
The first gets the cake. All right. Can you explain VXNF and how our native chain rewards like BNB distributed to XNF stakers?
So yeah, so now let's say you participated, right, in the burn auction, and now you've received your XNF at the end of the cycle, right? So you have a choice. Either the minimum lock period is 2 weeks, right? The maximum lock period is 4 years. So the approach we have taken is similar to Curve, where they have the VE NFTs, where if you was to lock longer, you get paid better, right? So I'll put it in an example. If you was to lock, let's say 1,000 XNF for 4 years, right? You would get back, let's say 1,000 VE XNF. Now, let's say someone else was to lock the same amount, let's say 1,000 XNF, but he wants to lock it for 1 year, right? He would only get back 250 VE XNF. So you can see that you can actually see the difference. So that basically means the guy who locked for 4 years is getting 4 times better earning power than the guy that locked for 1 year. So basically longer pays better. And when you do lock, you're actually earning native chain rewards through the burn fees and the swap fees. So you're actually going to be earning BNB. When we deploy into, let's say, the BNB chain, you'll be earning BNB. And then once we deploy in Ethereum, you'll be earning ETH. And this is done through the swap fees and the burn fees.
Cool. Very, very interesting. Sorry, just so much. I'm just trying to take in the whole information. I'm just taking some notes by side, and it's a lot. It's all in the white paper, right? Somewhere I think I've
Yeah.
seen. I've skimmed
Yeah,
over it.
yeah. We
But
got a
yeah,
few languages, 11 different languages. So
cool, very cool. So yeah, so for the listeners, you don't have to write and take notes. It's all available on the website, and I'm sure we'll drop a link somewhere afterwards. All right, we have some questions left, and then we will open up the chat for live ones. Let's get on with it then. I read that there are a lot of incentives for recyclers. Can you dive deeper into what recycling is and how a user can take part in it and the incentives they receive?
yeah, so like I mentioned before, right? When you stake your XNF, that means you're locking it for a minimum of 2 weeks to 4 years, right? It's up to the user to determine what sort of locking period that they want. But if you was to lock maximum term of 4 years, you're getting the maximum earning power, right? So during that period of time, you're earning native rewards, okay? So when you receive these native rewards each day, you have two options. Either you claim or you recycle. If you claim, then you're going to be given back 75%, right? Because 25% gets given back to those that recycle. So if you recycle, you're actually getting more BNB back, or you could say more native tokens back, because from those that actually just claim the the native tokens from the protocol. But that's not all, right? When you recycle, you're actually participating back into the burn cycle, right? Because now that BNB is getting a certain portion of it is being paid towards the burn fee, right? And is putting you back into the burn auction. So that means at the end of the cycle, you're actually going to get back more XNF because of that recycling. And the remaining portion of that BNB actually creates liquidity, protocol on liquidity for XNF, for Zen, and it also helps build out the ecosystem for for you bringing more utility for Zen and XNF. So in return, by recycling, you're actually creating that liquidity, that protocol on liquidity. You're acquiring more native tokens in BNB. You're also earning XNF through the burn auction. And now, just to add to it, you're also getting daily drips from the protocol own liquidity, because the protocol own liquidity gets dripped to those that recycle. So 1% of that liquidity that was created during the mint, the mint fee process of VZen, that liquidity basically gets withdrawn 1%, with the native side used to purchase XNF. And the same for Zen. So it will withdraw 1%, it will use the native side to buy Zen, and then it will drip that amount to those that recycle. So basically, if you recycle, to put it in simple terms, to take out the complexity of what I just said, if you recycle, you earn more BNB, you earn more XNF, and you earn Zen. If you claim, you just earn BNB. So if you claim, you get BNB. If you recycle, you get 3 tokens. But in return, it's a positive feedback loop, because it's creating liquidity while giving you, removing liquidity and giving it to you. So in other words, if there's a lot of burn fees coming in and swap fees coming in, you're creating more liquidity than what's being taken out. So it's kind of like a positive feedback loop that we have created with the recycling. But
I
to put
like
it in
it.
simple terms,
Yes,
just
yeah.
to put it in
Go
simple
on.
terms, the simple term, if you recycle, you get 3 tokens as rewards. Native token. So if it's on the BNB chain, it'll be BNB, XNF, and Zen. If you was to just claim, you would just get back BNB, right? So in other words, it's better to recycle, because now you're actually earning Zen, and you're actually earning XNF, and you're actually creating liquidity for Zen. You're creating liquidity for XNF. You're adding buying pressure for XNF. You're adding buying pressure for Zen, and you're helping grow out, basically develop the ecosystem for Zen and XNF.
No, I like those concepts, and I think from what I'm hearing, from what I've read about, the ecosystem and how everything works, is that basically everything brings utility to the ecosystem, and recycling is kind of the cornerstone of things. So so user gets incentives from pretty much every action, not just swapping, but burning, staking, etc., etc., etc. Even the minting fee, right? Because you get the drips from it.
Yeah. And even you get it back. So it's not really a mint fee, because it's more of a contribution back to the ecosystem, because it just creates liquidity for XNF and Zen. So it's kind of like growing the entire ecosystem from day one when they enter into VZen. And
Cool.
just to add, when they burn their Zen for VZen, the entire Zen gets added to the burn record, because by doing that, they also are entitled to an airdrop that will be coming out in the future. That's called X1, a new blockchain that's developed by Jack, the co-founder of Zen.
Very interesting. All right, we have one more pre-pick question left, and then we will move on to the live ones. And finally, how can users participate or take part in Xenify right now at this moment?
I would say the easiest way to participate right now is just by visiting our site, placing a swap, learning how the platform works, understanding how everything, is working. And yeah, just performing swaps would be the easiest way for you to participate and get some XNF or BXNF at this time, for based on the daily airdrop snapshots that are taken. Because right now, like I mentioned before, we're doing we're performing an airdrop on every chain that we deploy onto. So each chain that we deploy into, there's a 25,000 you could say a snapshot of 25,000 tokens that are taken each day. So every day, based on the volume you do, right, then the fees you pay, you're getting an allocation of 25,000 tokens till the entire 1.5 million BXNF has been reached. And this is for every single chain. So the idea behind it is to basically drive out pipe going into the Bitcoin halving, because every single chain, there's going to be an airdrop, right? Of the same starting amount, which is 25,000 tokens a day until the deployment onto that chain. And that's when you can claim it. So right now, the listing price of our token will be $1. We're currently waiting for PackShield to actually, start auditing it. And then once it's audited, we'll deploy it, and that's when they can claim it, right, from the contract. And at the moment, the cost per token is almost, I think, 5 cents, 5 to 10 cents. So it's a huge advantage for anyone that wants to, perform swaps and get to learn about, Xenify and how everything works, because right now it's a huge discount and it's a great utility once we do deploy it.
Fascinating. Well, utility is the main thing for every asset these days. Without utility, you cannot sustain. I'm seeing
Yeah.
a lot of hands. Let's take some questions. Let's try to pick the ones who has been here since the very beginning. This person, Ellie M33, adding you as a speaker. Eddie, you can speak now. You have to unmute yourself though.
Yeah. Hello guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It's been a great day so far. So actually, my question for I just want to know, like, if you could, like, explain how this feature actually works, because it's actually the first time I'm seeing something like this. And also, yeah, you didn't actually spoke about the security of your platform. Can you just, like, briefly tell us about it?
Could you?
I think
Yeah.
he asked about the security first, but the other question, we couldn't hear you because it broke up. Can you repeat the other question?
Maybe I can cover the
Okay.
security part.
In regards to your NFT auction, your website, can you, like, explain how it works? Because actually my first time seeing something like that.
Oh, the NFT auction. Yeah.
Yeah. So the NFT auction will be another utility for those that lock XNF tokens. So the NFT actually runs for a week, and the bidding token is BNB, and that BNB basically gets the winning bid basically gets distributed to VE XNF holders. So it's another utility to earn BNB tokens for staking your XNF. So by having that NFT, you have the ability to amplify, your burn batches, and the same would apply to holding an Apex NFT, right? Class 1 or Class 2. So yeah, it's quite in detail, but if you do hold any of those NFTs, you actually get an amplified batch amount to your burn. But for the auction, the starting bid would be $10, and then at the end of the week, the winner would be chosen, the highest bid, and that BNB will be distributed to VE XNF holders. And yeah, for the security side of it, the contracts will be audited by PackShield, which is one of the best one of the best auditors in the space at the moment. And yeah, and the contracts will be immutable. There won't be any admin keys or such.
All right. Thanks so much for the clarification.
Thank you, Eddie,
Thank
for your
you.
question.
And Simran, maybe you can also talk about the extended time of the auction in case, because that's a pretty cool, like, quote unquote, security measure. Like if someone comes in the last 5 minutes and places a bid.
Oh yeah, yeah. So basically, we do extend the auction, so it's like a 5 minutes. So if anyone was to just snipe it right at the last minute, it still gives time for the highest bidder to place his bid so that he can, is keeping it fair. So as long as there's no more bids after that point, it would then close to the winner.
That's a nice little mechanism. I'm sure every single one of us here has gone into those situations with the web auctions where you just get sniped last second.
Yeah.
All right, let's take some more questions. This person has been here since the beginning. Hanabi SRK, adding you as a speaker. You can speak now. You have to unmute yourself. Hanabi SRK. He's having some issues. You have to unmute yourself. You are added as a speaker. I'm guessing some technical difficulties there. Let's add someone else meantime. Abdul Rahim, adding you as a speaker. B&B Pizza, you can speak
Hello.
now. Yep.
Okay. Actually, I have two questions. My first question is, what sparked the creation of Xenify project, and secondly, how Xenify swap is different from other swaps, and what is the fee structure in that swap? Can you explain about that?
Yeah, so I would say the main reason why we created Xenify was because personally, like I wanted to actually find, I realized that a lot of users were needing a place where they could aggregate, their best quote, right? And having the ability to actually put it into one place kind of made sense, right? Like for the user's point of view, because now they wouldn't need to actually, view different aggregators to determine those prices. So yeah, that kind of sparked the interest of Xenify, and then, being also, participating in Zen myself in the first week on Ethereum, I kind of wanted to build something within the Zen ecosystem. And I knew that, our team could actually deliver something that could add a lot of value within the ecosystem, right? For Zen holders and Zen participants. So we felt that by introducing Xenify, which kind of like unifies the Zen chains and creates liquidity, adds buying pressure, it kind of inspired us to further deliver on that idea and concept. But yeah, so I think that was the main reasoning behind it. And I think your second part of the question was the fee. So we make the fee is actually optional, or will soon be optional. So it's either you pay like a 0.5% fee that would earn you XNF tokens each day on the amount of fees that you have accumulated within the protocol, or you could choose a no fee path, which basically provides you the same quote that you would get if you was to visit the aggregator. So if you were to visit, for example, StealthEX, you would get that same quote that you would get through them or through us. So it would be basically the same quote, but it will be put into a good format for you to view, which is like the best routes and the lowest gas and such.
Thank you, B&B Pizza.
If you have time, can I ask one more question? StealthEX,
Let's.
do you have any time?
Yeah, sorry. Let's get some other people's questions, and let's be fair here.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, let's get a couple more in while we have time. This X formatting, now it puts people with the blue mark on top, people without the blue mark, and we want to be fair here. I think this person has been here since the beginning as well. Bolt, you can speak now. Make sure to unmute yourself now. Yes.
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 Okay, good day. It's been a good AMA so far. So my question for you is it is usually said that crypto rewards active engagement, and I realize Xenify shares this same philosophy, if I'm correct. Can you shine more light on your game theory based proof of participation incentive model that is the backbone of Xenify? And how would this be beneficial to all and sundry?
Yeah, so the game theory behind Xenify is to actually kind of develop volume, develop engagement, by incentivizing users to participate, right? By you participating, not only are you creating liquidity, but you're also helping the entire protocol generate positive feedback loop within itself by recycling rewards, creating liquidity, by, minting VZen, by, burning your VZen, contributing back to VE holders that would recycle it back. So in turn, everything is creating like a positive feedback loop that in turn creates liquidity, that in turn also creates buying pressure. And I would say, which kind of also incentivizes people to generally come to Xenify to swap. Because imagine if there was, a huge amount of participation, we have a ton of liquidity that's being created for XNF, a ton of buying pressure, a ton of engagement. And now you have tokens that you generally want to swap, right? Like you would probably do it through Xenify because you know that there's a high chance that even though you're paying a fee of maybe $100, that you're probably going to get back something that could be $1,000 worth of value and something that you could immediately stake and earn native chain rewards that you could, benefit from, and become, a participant within the XNF ecosystem and eventually into the Zen ecosystem because you're also being dripped Zen. So you'll also be a part, you'll be a Zenian at that same time. So
Okay, so it's a win-win situation
yes,
for everyone.
a win-win situation for everyone.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Thank you for your
No worries.
question. All right, let's take one or two more. Daniel, adding you as a speaker. Daniel, you can speak. Make sure to unmute yourself now.
Yes, I am audible. Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay,
Hello?
okay.
Yeah.
So I was research. Okay, okay. I was researching in your website, so I like in your white paper that you take security very seriously and have done audit with which is regarding in the crypto industry right now. And secondly, is any smart contract devoid of admin key, meaning that they cannot be upgraded or governed by a centralized authority. So my like something wrong happen. So is there any crypto insurance for investor or holder? And if hack happen, any benefits for the investor? You
Okay, so the contracts are mutable, right? So realistically, we can't change anything in the contract, but we are getting the contracts audited by, I would say, one of the best auditors in the space. which pretty much has determined exploits before they even happen sometimes. So realistically, there would be no way for us to, kind of change anything in the contract, which is DeFi, I would say, right? But there could be certain plans that, we've taken to mitigate those type of issues, right? And I would say even the way we've designed the contracts is that we have put in a lot of redundancies in case certain third-party solutions weren't to work. We've put in like for example, we've integrated multiple bridging solutions such as Axler, Layer Zero, all within the same contract where we can basically, if one goes down, we still have other options, even though that the contract is immutable, we still have, redundancies that can be used in case one bridge was to go down in the future. But but when it comes to insurance, I don't think, much things in DeFi has insurance on it.
Well, thank you, Daniel, for your question.
Okay. Thank you so much for the answer, because many people are in DeFi concerned about security systems of new projects. So thank you for clearing this. Thank you.
No worries. Thanks.
All right, thank you for the questions. I think we've done it. Very comprehensive introduction to Xenify protocol, the ecosystem, the tokens, and just the general flow of the project, how it will go. Thank you, Simran. Thank you, Diana, for making this appearance today. We will be posting recording shortly and also a recap on YouTube.
Yeah, thank you so much, Vadim, for having us, and some final words from our side. Don't hesitate to, come into our Telegram if you still have any remaining questions. We are very gladly will answer them. And remember, the swap's still in a beta phase. So if you encounter any issues or bugs, do not hesitate to report them. We have a report link you can easily access and easily visualize it. By just clicking on it is right above the swap panel. So thank you again to the StealthEX team and to the community from behalf of all the Xenify team, myself, Simran. So thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Let's give you guys a round of applause and wrap it up. Well, see you guys around.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks.
See you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.